Hello world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to codingscientist.com. You are watching the most exciting Zero to Hero series on ESP32 development module, and also ESP32 CAM module will be covered as a part of this particular series. Anyways, so let's take a look at it where we are, guys. So we have come a far along, right? We did our configuration settings, loading the firmware for MicroPython, and I also showed you how to write a basic program in MicroPython using Thorny IDE and load your program and test if your IDE works perfectly with your ESP32, and it worked perfectly, right? So you are ready to do more MicroPython programming. You may also copy the same exercise what I showed you using Raspberry Pico. Same kind of stuff you can run in ESP32 as well using Thorny IDE and MicroPython. Now for this lesson we will start using Arduino IDE. I'm going to show you a couple of lessons on Arduino IDE, and we will take it forward from there. We will as I mentioned, we will combine, we will play around between Thorny IDE for MicroPython and Arduino IDE for C++, because it's very important, guys. End of the day, robotics, artificial intelligence, IoT is a combination of C++ programming and Python programming. By just doing Python, it's not going to help you folks. So it's very important you get a hang of C++ and MicroPython together. It's very important, right? All right. So let's take a look at it. Go ahead. In this particular lesson, I'm going to show you how to hook up a OLED. It's a small little device. I can show it to you here. It's a pretty much a small little device. For those of you who have already worked on these OLED display devices using Arduino, you may find this lesson little at a low level, very basics and kind of thing. Of course, that is the objective. This is a Zero to Hero series for those of you who are entering into the world of microcontrollers for the first time, and it's best suitable. So go ahead and procure a 128 into 64 or 32 bit OLED, a very small size, which comes with 3 or 4 pins, and it just costs about 300 rupees. So go ahead and pick it up, guys. The reason I want to get into the OLED is, in the future lessons, when we start connecting multiple sensors, we are going to read the output not only on the terminal on your computer but also on the OLED. It's very important because IoT, you got to sense the information from various sensors, throw it on the cloud and read it locally. All those things is going to happen using OLED. All right, guys. So what basically is OLED, right? I just want to talk about some basic information. As I said, we will also learn how to use to connect 0.96 inch or 1.3 inch LED OLED display with ESP32 using Arduino IDE. We will use SSD1306 I2C OLED display here. So SSD1306 is basically a library from Adafruit, right? So we will also install that particular library right away. I will show you how to install it, and there is also a tricky configuration in that particular library. By just installing library, you may not be able to drive the OLED using ESP32 or even Arduino, right? There are few tricks, few modification needs to be done in the library. I am going to show it to you how. We will use the existing sample code which comes along when we install SSD1306 library and upload that into ESP32 board. But before doing that, we need to read the I2C connection, right? It's very important. You need to read which I2C bus is being detected in your ESP32, which is basically connected to your OLED device, and we need to know the exact sector connected to I2C, sorry. In order to do that, you will have to go to my GitHub account. I will show you in a minute, and then I'll show you how to copy that particular section of the code and load it into ESP32 to read the I2C connection. So What exactly is OLED, guys? So in this particular example, as you know, we are using I2C communication protocol, and which is the most suitable pins for I2C communication in ESP32 or GPIO 22 pin, which is the SCL pin, and GPIO 21 pin, which is the SDA pin. If you look at the circuit drawing here, just follow along the same circuit, connect your OLED pins to the appropriate GPIO pins 22 and 21, which is your SDA and SEL, and then the ground pin and the VCC, which is your 3.3 volt pin, right? Go ahead and do that. So OLED stands for organic light emitting diode. Wow, this looks powerful, right? So at the same time, it's also fun to work with OLED displays. OLED is a self light emitting diode technology composed of very thin multi-layered organic film, which is basically placed between an anode and a cathode, right? In contrast to the LCD kind of technology, which is outdated, pretty much outdated. We may not be using LCD at all anymore, right? So OLED does not require any backlight. So unlike the LCD, you require a backlight to show the digits, right? But in OLED, it's not required. OLED basically it consumes high application potential for virtually all types of displays and is regarded as the ultimate technology for the next generation, right? Now, this SSD 1306 is basically, the name of the LED and the name of the library both are same, is SSD 1306, or there is also 1315, is basically 0.96 inch, or it is also called 1.3 inch. That's the difference between 1315 and 1306. It's just the size, that's all, and the number of sectors. Basically, it's a blue OLED display module. At the back end, it's a kind of totally dark, but when it glows, it's kind of dark. It's kind of radium blue. You are going to see the live example, anyways. And the display module can be interfaced with any microcontroller, not just ESP32, but ESP32 CAM and Arduino and Raspberry Pi, Jetson Nano, and loads of other boards are available in the market. You can hook it up with any of those as far as you have the SPI and IIC protocols and connected to I2C bus. It is having a resolution of 128 into 64 bits, which is pretty fantastic. It's I mean, that kind of clarity is more than enough. Alright guys, now what I would like you guys to do is go to, let me just share my desktop, and then we will take it forward from there. So just give me a second. Alright, I hope you guys can see my desktop. So this is my GitHub account. I'll leave the link below this video. Go to my GitHub account, okay? This is me, and go to the ESP32 CAM section, and then you pull up a file called here, the last one, OLED serial test.ino. Alright, click on that. You will find this entire set of code. This is basically to test and check which I2C bus we are connected, okay? So go here, go to raw, click on raw, okay? Click on, what is this, English and Africans? I don't need that. Click on raw, you will get this code. Here you need to just say Control A and then right click, copy, and now open up your Arduino IDE. Go to the IDE, just paste this code. If you want, I can explain this code, guys, but it's pretty, those are for the folks who are for absolutely beginners who are just starting with C++ and microcontrollers. You may schedule a one-on-one with me. I'll be happy to explain and walk you through line by line codes, word by word codes, and the logics and stuff like that, one-on-one through Zoom call. So do feel free. So for now, just go ahead and copy paste this code, and what you need to do, let's see. Now first we need to connect to the board. Let me just connect my board, And this you are going to do after you hook up the circuit, guys. Very important. The circuit which I showed you just now, just hook up your OLED to the SDA and SEL pin, which is GPIO 21 and 22 of ESP32, and the ground pin to ground pin of ESP32, and the 3.3 volt pin of OLED into the 3.3 volt of ESP32. So once you are hooked up, I am already hooked up, so I am going to connect to COM12, which is my COM port. Yours might be different. And then my board is this, that is Do It ESP32 Dev Kit version 1. Alright, now what you need to do, you need to hold the boot button. I showed you in a couple of lessons before. Before uploading the code, you need to hold the boot button. I am going to hold it now, and then I will upload the code. It's asking me to save. You can just save it as sketch June or whatever today's date. You can just save it on the desktop. I am just uploading this code. Unexpected unqualified ID before token. What is that? Let me check. Unqualified token, maybe I need to put double slash. Let me try this again. Compiling. Oops, maybe it's not accepting. Let me just delete this. Alright, let me upload it again. Compiling sketch. Compiling. You need to hold the boot button, guys. Keep it just pressed till you see the code gets uploaded at the bottom, and it's connected. There you go, it's writing. It's successfully writing. Now it's 100%. Okay, now you can take out your finger from the boot button. Alright, now it is done. Now what we need to do, you go to serial monitor here on the top. Open the serial monitor. Alright, and now press the EN button on your ESP32. There is a EN button. Press EN, and there you go. I2C device found at address 0x3C. Can you see it here? Which is fantastic. So this is very important, guys. Make a note of it. 0x3C. Make a note of it. It's very, very important. All right. Make a note of it. Take a pen and a paper. Write it down. 0x3C. All right. You can also copy. I don't think you can copy paste it here. But anyways, one more thing, guys, you need to be on a baud rate of 15.115.200 baud. This is the baud speed you need to select to run this particular program. All right, this program basically helps you to find out which I2C pin your ESP32 has detected, and you need to use this in the upcoming code which I am going to show you. So it's 0x3C. Now let's close this program. 0x3C. Just remember this, 0x3C. Now let's go to examples. Go to file, go to examples, and then scroll it down. Scroll to the bottom. You can see, okay, before that we need to install the libraries, right? So let's go ahead and install the libraries. So go to sketch, include libraries, go to manage libraries. Okay, let it refresh. Now here on this search bar, you need to type SSD1306. Can you see it here? It'll automatically populate as soon as you type SSD1331, 1306, all this stuff will come. But what we need to be installing is, I will show it to you here. This is what I have already installed it, so it shows I am already installed. So this is the most important library, guys. To drive your OLED with ESP32, you need to install this SSD1306, and it's written as OLED driver library for monochrome 128 into 64 and 128 into 32 displays. Driver for monochrome. You may want to read this further details. You can open it up. Okay, there are ton load. It's taking it. This section is Adafruit's GitHub repository. There are ton loads of information about this particular library, and there are also examples. So it's pretty interesting, guys. You can, and the supported boards. What kind of microcontrollers are supported for this particular board? So you may go ahead and take a look at it. It's very important you understand, learn all this, and get a hands on. Let me close this. So once you install this library, this particular library, then go ahead and search for GFX. GFX. All right, GFX. There you go. If you look at this, I have already installed. Once you type GFX, you will get this. You need to go to the second one, Adafruit GFX library, right? GFX graphics core library. This is the core class that all our graphics libraries derive from. Okay, so this is a kind of helper program, kind of library, helper program for the previous library we just installed, right? So it's going to, let's take a look at it in the more info. It's taking to the same GitHub account of Adafruit GFX library, so you can go ahead and read through this, and there are ton loads of examples. So try to understand, get hands on. All right, so once you install this, guys, successfully install, go to file, go to examples, go down, scroll down, go to Adafruit SSD1306. In this, as per the circuit drawing, we are connected to I2C bus. So let's select this program, right? I2C. Now, what was the, let's read through which was the bus we connected. I just forgot. Oh my god, it's very important to write it down. Okay, your device found at I2C. Let me just reboot. Let me click the EN button again. I clicked it. 0x3C. Let me just make a note of it because I forget it, guys. We need to do the modification, so it's very important. 0x3C. So it is 0x3C. All right, I'll just make a note of it. 0x3C. Let me close it. Now let's go to examples. Go to Adafruit at the bottom, SSD1306. Let's select 128 into 64 I2C. All right. If you are using a smaller one, you can select 128 into 32. That's much more smaller, tiny one. Or yeah, these two are the main thing because we are not using SPI and SPI and SPI. I2C. Let's select this I2C code. Let me close the previous one, and this is what is open. Let me connect to my COM port. Your COM port might be different, guys, so make a note of it. And then connect to the board. Arduino ESP32, Arduino boards, ESP32, do it ESP32 dev board. And this is what it is, right? Now what we need to do in this example, most important thing, our LED, the small LED, does not have a reset button. So you might want to, if in case this code doesn't work, your LED doesn't display anything, you might want to convert this into, change this into -1. For now, I'll leave it as 4. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, make a note of it, okay? If it doesn't work, go back to this code, change it to -1 like this, because it might take up your inbuilt reset pin, because we don't have a physical reset in the OLED, which at least I'm using it. So I'll leave it to 4 for now, just test it. And now we need to go to if, okay, the line number 64, right? If display dot begin, here screen underscore address, this is where we will put our I2C address. Now which was our I2C address? It was 0x3c, 0x3c. All right. Now let's cross our finger. I don't think we need to change anything in this example. Okay, let me load this code and see what happens. Okay, let me press this boot button. You have to hold this boot button and then click upload. It's compiling. It looks okay so far. Compiling sketch. No error so far, so it should be good. All right, it's connected, it's writing, thank God. Good, it's done. Now what we need to do, I can't see anything on my OLED display. So what we need to do, once you see this done uploading on your, if I'm sure you will also not see anything on your OLED display. You might be wondering what's happening. I just did everything as per the instruction. One last thing, after you upload, you need to click the EN button again. Okay, there you go guys. I can see everything pretty clear. Let me just share my screen. I hope you guys can see my desktop. One second. Alright, there you go. Can you see? I can see the display with some graphics and stuff like that from Adafruit. That's fantastic guys. Let me click this EN button again and it will reboot. It will restart. I think I should keep it like this. I'll just click the EN button. There you go. Can you see it's restarting as Adafruit and the happy little graphics. That's pretty good. That's pretty neat and clean, folks, right? So go ahead and pick it up. I mean, we are going to do ton loads of OLED projects by reading the sensor inputs and stuff like that. And yeah, we will be connecting this OLED into our ESP32 module as well. So what I'm planning to do is, over a period of time, as a part of this particular series, I will try to hook up the OLED into ESP32 CAM module, and we will start building some tiny ML lessons. Also the face detection models, algorithms, which comes built in as part of ESP32. So we will try to take the facial capture and try to boost those pictures into the OLED. I'm not sure, I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to give a try and do some modification, and I'm going to build a solid tutorial for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Let's take a look at the display once again. I hope it's working. I can see some little stars here, which is pretty good. All right, so let me just click the enable button again. This is the enable button, this is the boot button. Let me click the EN button and it's beginning again from the start. Adafruit. That's a pretty neat and sleek little graphics. There you go. I hope you guys can see it. Let me bring it close to the camera. Anyways, so that's pretty interesting. So we are successfully able to hook up the OLED and run the libraries and do the modification, read the I2C port, and we are able to do the circuitry and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular lesson. In case if you have any doubt, you need a one-on-one session, you need to understand more in depth, do reach out to me. I'll be happy to schedule a Zoom call with you and walk you through step by step. Goodbye. See you.